I'm just going to go through the kind of best and necessary episodes. I'm sure some people are going to be, I want to be a completist and see every episode, but I have to agree with most critics that the majority of the episodes are not very good. It's a short season, so again, if you have the time, you can obviously go through it. None of the episodes are absolutely terrible, but they do go through, they range in quality. Some are okay, and some are good, and some are actually surprisingly very, very good. Okay, so let's begin. All right, so the only two really necessary episodes are the first two, Welcome to the Hellmouth and The Harvest. I think they're good episodes, but I wouldn't say they're that good. I certainly wouldn't say they're very good, but they're fine. But they're essentially the prequels to get to the main story and the character, because people show up and you're sort of wondering, wait, what happened to those? So those kind of episodes are absolutely necessary. But right away, Nightmares. I give it an 8 out of 10 without any hesitation. This is a really, really good episode, especially given the budget constraints. It's pretty amazing what they are able to do with Nightmares. After that is Out of Mind, Out of Sight. I think it's a very good episode. It's not as good as Nightmares. And besides that, The Pack. The Pack is sort of a middling episode, but I thought it was fairly good. And I think, again, with the budget they had, they did a lot with the episode. Finally, I'd recommend Never Kill a Boy. I know for a lot of people, they don't like some of the twists in that episode. I didn't mind it. I thought the Anointed One was a good character. I didn't find it annoying at all. And I actually found the twist fairly believable. But again, this is very early. They're still testing out a lot of ideas. I know some people really think the Angel episode is fairly good, but there are two issues. One is that Angel character really is severely changed. So a lot of what they say in that episode is not true later. Just his whole demeanor, his attitude, and just how he works. But it's good. I mean, actually, visually, it has some interesting ideas. And the character is fine. I mean, I don't think David Boreanaz is a bad actor. I just think this is really, at best, a middling episode. If you want to learn a lot about Buffy, you should see it, but it's really not absolutely necessary. You can just learn from the other episodes the implied information within it. So, yeah, it's good in terms of completion, but Angel is sort of not one of the worst episodes, but it's sort of just really ranked right in the middle. As far as the other episodes, really they're going to be like 3, 4, at most 5 out of 10. You don't really have to see them. And again, it's not bad. You spend more time with the characters. You learn a few more details. But the basic setup is the same. And the episodes themselves are not very good. So let's go through the basics. Buffy comes to school. She befriends Willow and Xander. Those are going to be her best friends. She meets a watcher called Giles, and she's basically the mentor of the group, and he's going to help guide Buffy, and Angel is sort of like this ambivalent ally in the background, and you're going to know more and more about him as the season progresses, but you get a good taste of what is going to happen in this first season. Now, unfortunately, I have to say Prophecy Girl, for me at least, is a sort of a middling episode. You do have to sort of see it because it's a setup for the future seasons, and they've heard back to it a whole lot. I do think the Master is a good antagonist, but we really don't spend too much time with him, and he's sort of a distraction. It's sort of a fake villain, really. But the character design is amazing, and if you are patient with the series, technically he does return in a way in season 7. Again, I don't want to give too much away, but it's interesting how he keeps appearing, and sure enough, he does show up in Nightmares, and it's an amazing little sequence. So that's probably the only major complaint, is that this is very much the show beginning to understand what it's going to do later, and the later seasons are much, much higher quality, but this is probably, again, by far one of the worst seasons. If you like everything about Buffy, then yeah, you'll enjoy it, but again, the best episodes, Nightmares, Out of Mind, Out of Sight, The Pack, and then just the beginning episodes are just very necessary to get a taste of the mythology. And that's about it. It's a short season. If you do have the time, you can go through it, but don't be disappointed if some of the episodes are very, very terrible, and you're like, wait, I heard it was so good. Yeah, the first season is not representative of the future seasons. But I think the good episodes do give you a good sample of what Buffy is going to do. I guess a final warning would be that the beginning of the season is essentially a horror comedy. That's the genre they're going to play with, and that's maintained for a lot of season 2, but afterwards it doesn't really stay within those generic constraints. So if you're a big fan of horror and comedy, then you'll like the first 2 seasons, but after that they're going to change it a lot. So if you're sort of disappointed that they lose the horror element, well, that's just how the show is going to go. So if you do like horror, though, I think the first 2 seasons will be for you. But you think for the general fans, it'll be sort of a little confusing, and people who start out, it'll be a little bit of a rough ride. So once again, Nightmares, Season 1, highly recommended.